Today, and when I say we, I mean I and my eternally young son, Lucas, who passed away 3 years ago, November 27th of 21. He's not here physically, but he is here in spirit all the time. And I hope you know that too about your lost loved ones. Let's get on with the cooking. So let's give a hippie shake for our hash brown, bacon, egg, vegetable, and cheese casserole. So for starters, we're going to grease an 8x8 pan and also put our oven at 350 to warm up. We've got about 8 scrambled eggs. Just put them in a bowl, scramble them up. We're going to use about 2 scallions. I got 1 habanero this is a jalapeno. Yeah, 1 jalapeno chopped up nice and small. About half of a green pepper. Now these are just items in my fridge that I thought I would add to my dish. And I got some tomatoes. These are just cherry tomatoes, and instead of having them, I put them into 3, cut them into 3. We got some, I won't say this right, Gruyere cheese, Gruyere, whatever it is, and some Swiss cheese along with some shredded cheddar. I got about 6 pieces of bacon. I just cut them up into chunks. I fried them, and then I drained them, and I used a paper towel to squeeze off any excess fat. And we have some hash browns. Some of these are frozen, and some are not frozen, but they're thawing out rather well. So we're going to layer these into the bottom of our pan, and I think that's it, except for some seasonings. Let's get started. So we're just going to lay our hash browns in our pan, and we're just going to sprinkle in the rest of the ingredients. We'll just kind of layer them nice and even so every bite has a good amount of flavor. Now you could make this if you had overnight guests. This would be a great dish to make in the morning, maybe for brunch. And you could make this in a 9x13 pan. You could just, adjust your ingredients to fit. So it's just, a little bit of trial and error, but it's really not hard. This is gonna be tasty. And I did go ahead and grab some herbs. So we're going to add some herbs into this dish right about now. So I've got some basil that I ground up from my garden. So I'm just going to take them that are all ground, and I'm just going to put them between my hands and put them in the dish like that. And I've also got some thyme that I'm going to do the same thing with. And you can always use stuff from the store if you don't have anything on hand. Wrong with that. And I'm going to add a little garlic and onion powder to the mix. And after I put my eggs on, then I will add some salt and pepper. Okay, we're going to add our cheese about now. Just going to mix it up good so we get a good choice of everything. When you grease your pan, you're going to want to make sure that you get the sides also, because this will come up. We got our scrambled eggs, and I have to go get my salt and pepper. Okay, cleaned up a little bit and got the salt and pepper out. So, we're just going to pour this on. And you want it to cover, you want the egg mixture to pretty much cover everything. That goodness scraped out. Our chickens were on a egg laying hiatus. They were molting. So we're going to salt and pepper these. And I am going to add some red pepper flakes. I know I've got that jalapeno in there. But for a little bit more color, you could use, for your peppers, you could use multicolored bell peppers. Just didn't have those right now. So that's a little bit of red pepper flake. And then we're going to set this in the oven at 350 and for about a half an hour or until a stick poked in comes out clean. And for transparency, I went ahead and scrambled up about 3 more eggs, and then I added over the top of the dish. It's in the oven now, and I just wanted it covered because I don't want any of the ingredients to dry out. So while the egg bake is baking, I'm going to show you what I do with my leftover eggs. First off, I do wash the shells because these are homegrown chicken eggs, and I wash those before I crack them. Then when I do crack them, I do kind of wash them up a little bit more. I put them in a bowl of water, in a pan of water. I'll get a rolling boil and I'll add my eggshells in, let them cook for 10 minutes, remove it, cool it, drain it. You pour cold water over that to cool them off nice, and then lay them on a cookie sheet or a tray or whatever you have, and you want them to dry completely thorough. Once they're completely dry, you can crush them up in your hand, put them in a little grinder, and you've got some eggshells. Now I do feed these to my chickens. I also make a homemade dog food recipe, and I'll put those into that also. It's very good calcium. One of the other things I do, whenever I have a scallion, I use up as much as I can of it in my recipe, and then I put it in a little glass jar with some water in the bottom, and you can see they are regrowing. And so you just take them out and use them up. So that's a great repurpose. For the jalapeno, anytime you've got some hot peppers, you can take these, and if you have chickens, and you can put them in compost otherwise. Just keep the seeds. They cannot taste the hot, so this is good for them. It actually fights parasites. It's a very healthy food for them. So I got a couple things here for chickens and all kinds of ways to reuse something you might normally throw away. Well, the chickens are enjoying some cracked corn in there. We've got the eggshells crushed up. I didn't boil them this time. I did it fresh. They were washed, and then I crushed them up. And we got some red pepper flakes along with that jalapeno. They are going to eat that. They love this stuff. Happy chickens. So it's been 30 minutes, and you can see it's starting to brown on top, but it's still jiggly in the middle. So I'm going to cover that with foil and continue to cook it, and check out it every 15 minutes until the stick inserted comes out clean. And for those new to baking, you can use a toothpick, a skewer, a wooden chopstick, but I don't necessarily recommend a real stick, unless of course that's all you have. Okay, we went ahead and cooked it for another 15 minutes, and it is no longer jiggly in the middle. We're going to let it cool for about 10 minutes. I'm going to take a knife and just go around the edges here, and then we'll get it cut up into chunks. And here we are. You can see it's nicely browned. Everything's cooked thoroughly. Let's take a taste. Cheesy. You can taste those hash browns. The vegetables are very well cooked. Slightly. You can see it's not burnt on the bottom. Very nicely cooked. Nice and full. It's very delicious. I hope you give this recipe a try and cook good food for your loved ones.